Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna watch something. Come on. Come on, buddy. Don't see that. It looks poopy. What the heck?
Hey kids, remember, everything you're about to learn is real! Stop!
¿Qué hace el mal en el bus? ¿Me has oído, pedazo de mierda? ¿Dónde estás? ¡Estás cansado! ¡Joder! ¿Estás cansado, Sí.
¿Tocayo?
Quítate de las maderas.
¿Tocayo?
No soy tocayo.
A ver,
¿Qué?
quien coño sea.
Sí.
Vamos a ver.
¿Qué quieres?
¿Qué quieres de mí?
Matarte.
Pe-
Vamos a ver.
Sí, vamos a
Rápido.
Vamos a dialogar.
Vamos a jugar un juego. Un montebotones. Voy a aprovechar el momento perfecto. Voy a llamar a mi supuesto tocayo, Israel. Sí, ese chico que tiene un canal, ¿vale? De YouTube. No Loading, creo que se llama. Ese chico tiene una casa, la casa del Señor de las Armas. Voy a llamarlo y voy a quedar con él ahora mismo. Voy a aprovechar que Low está con los...
Make sure you like that. Let's watch this one. It's funny. Don't get because of that.
If I shoot myself, that doesn't make any sense! Just put it down, put it down! Put your guns away! Just put it down!
1 hour later.
I get naked in the bathroom.
Oh, crap.
Buddy chum pal friend buddy pal chum bud friend fellow brother amigo pal buddy friend chummy chum pal. I don't mean to be rude, my friend pal home slice bread slice dog, but I gotta warn ya, if you take one more diddly darn step right there, I'm gonna have to diddly darn snap your neck.
You are. All of you, beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by...
No! Shit! No! Damn it! Fucking God! What? Stupid! God damn it! Come on, man! Fucking God! No! What? No! Fucking shit! Whatever!
Oh.
God damn it! I'm
man woke up in a hospital after a serious accident. He shouted, "Doctor, doctor, I can't feel my legs." The doctor replies, "I know! I amputated your arms!"
There was a big skeleton, a little skeleton, and a human!
Alphabetti spaghetti!
Don't get
On your mark. Get set. Slither!
Listen, I just want you to know what you did the other day was wrong.
What you did the other day was wrong.
You're not making this easy, Kyle.
You're not making this easy, Kyle. My name's Peter Griffin. I'm a big, fat, dumb buttface.
Shut up, Kyle.
I'm Peter Griffin. I'm a dorky, fat numbnuts.
Kyle, I said shut up.
You're a poop nose.
Sounds you have a bad time. He does have a nice butt. Punch that. Oh.
You ever lay awake at night and think about what it would be like to die in a fire? Who the fuck invited you here?
What's that?
And the little girl behind the counter was like, "Is this for here to go?" And the giant woman was like, "Excuse me? You think I can eat all this by myself?" And the girl behind the counter was like, "Bitch, I don't know your life!"
Yeah, just place that little plate over there, will you? Yeah.
The sun is going down and the flowers are starting to wilt. You fucked up, bitch. Are you looking at your flowers?
Hello? Hey, what's up?
I need your help. Can you come here?
Yeah, I can't. I'm buying clothes.
All right, well, hurry up and get over here.
I can't find them.
What do you mean you can't find them?
I can't find them. There's only soup.
What do you mean there's only
Soup.
I never left.
Yeah, well, here's some kids. Story. You're not making it easy, Kyle. Yeah, there we are. Story. Never mind. Let's watch this one. This is gonna heavily hit this. What the heck, bruh? You just cut his head off. What a voodoo doll! You cut the hair, wow, 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 wow. You cut the hair, wow, 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 wow. You're not making this easy, Kyle. What the heck?
Live video. Welcome to a new Scary Tuesday, TikTokers. For the most part, clowns are happy and fun characters, ready to make us laugh. But there are some that cause real terror. You probably have an image in your mind right now. It. This horrible character was born from the twisted mind of the writer Stephen King, and later on made it to the big screen, becoming the greatest box office horror movie of all times. But do you know about its origin and true story? Get ready to find out. And don't worry if you haven't seen the movie yet, we won't make any spoiler. It is actually a being without a well-defined appearance, or at least its original appearance has never been seen. It usually takes the shape of the fears that terrorize its victims the most, their deepest nightmares, in order to subdue them. Though its most common outfit is that of a dancing clown, called Pennywise. It wears a light dress with buttons, its face is painted white with a red-haired crown around its head. It usually wears white gloves, as well as a bunch of balloons on its hand. Its sense of humor is quite peculiar. It laughs and tells grotesque jokes. And in its most horrific form, a row of yellow teeth appears inside its mouth. But it is a lot more than an evil clown. Its origin goes back to even before the creation of our own universe. It is a being that comes from a place called Macroverse, a dimensional plane that covers everything there is. So big that compared to it, our world is nothing but a small dot. It would be a kind of a representation of madness and evil in themselves, hence the way we refer to it. It came to this world inside a meteorite during prehistory, landing in a remote place in the US. The exact place where centuries later the town of Derry would be built, where the story takes place. When the first settlers started colonizing and building the area around the year 1740, it woke up with an insatiable hunger, and it could only satisfy it by eating human beings. He took the lives of around 300 settlers, and once he was satisfied, it went back to rest again, starting a hibernation cycle that starts again every 27 years. Every time it wakes up, a terrible wave of violence starts, which have left several tragic events in the history of this town. In 1851, a father of a family, under the influence of it, went mad and poisoned all his family, and then committed suicide. 27 years later, the corpses of a group of woodcutters were found massacred on the riverbank. The next time it woke up, two of the worst tragedies ever in the town took place. In 1904, a woodcutter killed with his axe all clients inside a bar. And before hibernating again, a local foundry suddenly exploded, causing 240 deaths. 200 of them were kids who were there looking for Easter eggs, as it was Easter at the time. On its next round, during the late 20s, a violent mob of people massacred a band of local criminals by shooting at them. And another group of racist people burned down a nightclub frequented by Afro-Americans, leaving several victims behind. It not only enjoys scaring its victims, adopting the shape of their worst nightmares and then killing and eating them up. Sometimes it also manipulates their minds so they become violent and hate each other, provoking waves of destruction. It hides in the underground sewers of the city, where it moves as it pleases and where it sometimes takes its victims' bodies. There, it also adopts one of its most common shapes, a giant spider, the closest to its physical appearance that the human mind can comprehend. Because its original form is that of deadlights, a shapeless mass with orange lights that come from the Macroverse. By just looking at them, one will die or become crazy instantly. Sometimes, even with its physical shape, those lights appear in its eyes, so nobody should look at it directly in the eyes. For many centuries, it did his own thing, freely, around Derry, playing with the minds of humans and believing it was invincible. Until one day, it found a group of teenagers that made it realize about something. By transforming into its victims' fears, sometimes it automatically or involuntarily adopts their weaknesses as well, being subject to their limitations. This means not only that it is vulnerable and can be harmed, but also that it can be finished off. For the first time in its existence, it felt the fear of dying, which increased its hate towards these teenagers, and it became obsessed with ending their lives. Will these simple guys be able to confront this evil being? Or will it be successful once again, leaving a trail of blood and chaos around it? You'll have to find that out yourselves, Tic-Tackers. Do you like clown stories? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more...
That's gonna give me nightmares.
Welcome to a new
well,
Draw
I'm gonna
My
kill
Life
the
video.
clown.
If we take a look at the new martyrs that have been born in the big screen during the last years, without a doubt, the most fascinating one among people is John Kramer, the protagonist of the horror saga Saw. Today, we'll continue with our special terror program. Let's get to know a bit more about his macabre story. Watch out for spoilers! His strength comes not only from the number of victims who had fallen in his traps, more than 50, but more likely from the wit and sadism present in his martyrs. Jigsaw is not a regular killer with a bladed weapon or a gun. He is an engineer of crime. And this is, precisely, the profession John Kramer had before turning into a maniac killer. His past is told mainly through the second and fourth installments of the saga, though, unfortunately, we don't know anything about his childhood or teenage years. John was a civil engineer, with a successful career in the restoration of old buildings. He was happily married to Jill Tack, a psychologist, younger than him, whom he helped in the private disintoxication clinic she ran and that she herself had founded. With her patients, they used a self-help therapy transmitted through the slogan of the company, "Cherish your life." This quote will be of a great importance in Jigsaw's genesis as a killer. John Kramer's life seemed perfect until suddenly everything was turned upside down and he suffered several blows that sunk him forever. The first one was losing the kid they were expecting, who they were gonna call Gideon. Jill was pregnant when one night while she was locked in the clinic, she was deceived by one of her patients, Cecil Adams, so she could go in and steal drugs. While escaping, Cecil hit Jill with a door, causing an internal bleeding and the loss of the baby. Not long after, in a routine checkup, John was diagnosed with colon cancer, which comes from a tumor in the frontal lobe of his brain. The tumor is inoperable and condemns him to die soon. However, he hangs on to his last hope and tries to sign up for a new experimental treatment that could save his life. The final blow came when his insurance company refused to pay for the treatment, and John was left without any hope. Depressed, he decided to put an end to his life and he jumped off a cliff with his car. Surprisingly, he survived, but severely injured with a metal bar through his abdomen. In that moment, John has a revelation and finds out how much he cherishes his life. He gathers the courage to get the bar out of his body and recover to perform his work. He dedicates the time he has left to test human nature and its survival instinct. Jigsaw doesn't consider himself a killer. He doesn't kill directly. He puts his victims in a limit situation where they have to choose between giving up or fighting to survive. At a high cost, of course, including extreme torture from self-harm to ending with others' lives. But it's always them making the choice. Jigsaw doesn't enjoy his victims suffering. He makes them go through it so they can change the course of their crooked lives. The chosen ones are usually people who are not happy or waste their existence in that of others. Jigsaw comes to remind them they have to be grateful for the gift of being alive, and if they don't make it through the test, it means they didn't deserve that gift. Jigsaw's traps are mechanic gadgets or physical puzzles that seem to be inspired by sadistic instruments of torture from the past. In order to build them, he uses second-hand or rotten materials, especially rusty metal pieces, and sometimes he adds countdown mechanisms. However, they are always a symbolic representation of the defects or sins of the victims. Jigsaw explains the rules of the game to his victims and how they can escape through video or audio recordings. But he doesn't show his face directly. Instead, he usually hides behind two well-known symbols for those who follow the saga. One is Billy, a puppet John built back in the day for his future son, Gideon. After his death, Jigsaw decided to give it a more macabre appearance and use it in his games to communicate with his victims. It has appeared through video recordings and also physically, riding his own little tricycle. The other one is the pig mask Jigsaw and his disciples used to hide their faces when kidnapping their victims. It's a rubber mask covered with a wig and represents a realistic image of the head of the animal. Its symbology comes from the pig in the Chinese calendar, the year when John's son was supposed to be born, and the year his crimes started to take place. Super spoiler now. As it was expected, Jigsaw ends up dying in the third part of the saga, though not because of his terminal illness, but murdered by one of his victims. However, as usual, his wit is ahead of the unexpected events, and he manages to have his legacy of tests continue through several disciples, during the 8 movies the saga has had up to now. Recently, we have enjoyed the comeback of the saga to the big screen after 7 years with no new sequels. It seems like Jigsaw's legacy is going a long way, surprising us with new and twisted mortal games. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!
Well, that was the end of the video. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and also, oh my god, no, it was good, sorry. Also, 100 likes, and I will do another video of this. Also, this one is a good one. I'm not sure if you know that, but if you want to see that one, it's a good one. So, bye. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.